The Philippine Health Department on Monday, August 23, logs 18,332 new cases of COVID-19, breaking the record of the highest one-day tally since the pandemic began.
Ako si Romualdo Linares Jr., taga-Hinaplanan, Claveria, Misamis Oriental. Sa pagkakaroon, may man ang among panglawas pero ang among panginabuhian na epektuhan tungod kay kami mismo dili na kayo makaadto sa umahan. Tanalagsa lang lahi sa una nga everyday tuwagin sa umahan. Tapos gani ako karon matukos akong uma dili na gyud ko moagi sa tagasangkuan. Dili na ko moagi sa luyo. Ay dili man gud labi na ako nga senior citizen. 68 ako karon. Dapat unta naara sa balay pero mapugos pag ko nga buhato sa akong umahan tungod kay lisod man ang uma dili nimo mabisitahan. Hindi na ito mamonitor kung unsa nagyudagan dito.
Ako si Mrs. Andresa Pomar, taga Purok 3, Hinaplanan, Claveria, Misamis Oriental. Kaysa pag tunga sa anin ko sa pandemya kaning COVID-19, kay naapektuhan gid mi pag-ayo. Tungod kay lisod na ang pag-adto dito sa laing lugar nga makapamalig sa among mga produkto tungod kay mahadlok na mo kay nga mga takdan kita sa sakit. Dayon ang amo sa dinhi nagpadayon mi og tanom kay aron pud ang among mga silingan maka-access pud sila pagpalit sa among produkto nga dili na pud sila makaadto sa lain nga baligyan. Tungod kay kung dito na sa mga namaligya mas mahal gid ang ilang presyo. Na among gi-produce nga gitanom nga string beans, na among patulan, na among kuan sa una katong pipino amo nang gikuan tungod kay nangalaya na den. Ang among bagong nga talong katong mga 5 fingers na ay among luyad adto na among kuan katong sibuyas dahon. Muna kunay magpalit, diretso na lang din ibot. Namo karon nga mahadlok mi sa sitwasyon kay murag nagkadaghan na gid ang naapektuhan sa pagkuan sa COVID-19.
...2020 has been a challenging year, not just for our country, but for the world.
Loss of income, poverty, hunger, these are just some of the tough roads we needed to cross.
The stories of these farmers and these citizens are the living testaments of the mountains that we need to conquer.
Consistent with the system's mission of contributing significantly to the national development goal of food security,
the USDP has innovated a haven of sustainable progress, honing the optimum productivity of our small-scale farmers.
I am Judy.
I am Cyril.
And this is the USDP Pandemic Farm.
As a response to the present challenge of COVID-19 and in anticipation of future waves of pandemic, wherein food security is always at question, the University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines is embarking on a project dubbed as Pandemic Farm at USTP, or Productive Agriculture for National Development through Entrepreneurial Mindset and Innovative Culture, or Pandemic. The establishment of the USTP Pandemic Farm would provide an avenue for local households to follow as model farm to replicate as their tool for survival and sustainability. This should aggressively promote adaptive mindset to help attain household food security in our localities and various stakeholders of the university. Moreover, this initiative is a necessary strategy to encourage families who were affected by the worldwide crisis to promote adequate, accessible, and affordable food in their table. The current crisis highlights the vulnerabilities of our current systems, particularly distorting the food supply chain and agricultural trade. Since then, the world has been working on the challenge of the new normal facing the agriculture sector today. Therefore, it is imperative for this generation to rethink and restructure its ways and practices in a way that would suffice the pressing need of the current situation. Further, with this response, we are empowering the household to be self-reliant with regular source of food and thus prevent the country from being overwhelmed by future food crisis. And with this, we help move people beyond the cycle of continual need for emergency food assistance.
Our project, Efficiency and Productivity of Food Production Systems Towards Food Resiliency Amidst Pandemic Crisis, is a component of the Pandemic Farm of Giuseppe Claveria, which forms part of the COVID-19 response initiative of the university. So during the height of the COVID-19 way back of June last year, we are grateful that the university were able to get funds from the Australian Centre for International Agricultural Research through their Alumni Research Support Facility, or the HRERSF program, which supports the establishment of this farm. So basically, the project focuses on backyard vegetable gardening with potential for adoption for both urban and rural households. So our focus is evaluating and showcasing 4 vegetable production systems like vertical gardening, square foot gardening, container gardening, and the raised bed gardening, or the hilly land gardens, and the combinations of these production systems. So all this in comparison with the conventional practices of backyard gardening. So the crops we are growing are mainly pinakbit type. So we have talong, okra, pulsitaw, ampalaya, and squash. Our raised bed gardening are designed for sloping or hilly backyard. So for this particular production system, we are growing our leafy veggies, different varieties of lettuce, pichay, cabbage, and the eggplant kangkong. So when we conceptualize the project, we are thinking of providing a show window to our Filipino households of what we can possibly do in our backyard, particularly when we are in lockdown. So especially for our vulnerable sectors like the senior citizens, people with comorbidities, or young individuals, for everyone na binabawalang lumabas ng bahay, or even for us who preferred to be staying at home amidst this pandemic. So through this project, we want to establish a model of how we can maximize our backyard, of how we can be productive if we only have a 3 square meter area in our backyard to produce vegetables. Our purpose is to showcase not just the typical or conventional backyard gardening, but something innovative that will not just provide a continuous supply of nutritious vegetables for the family, but will also provide leisure to stay away from boredom, from stress, or especially depression now that we are in this pandemic. So more importantly, we want to showcase a vegetable production systems that also promote edible landscaping. As we all know, during the height of the COVID-19, sumikat ang mga plantitas, ang mga plantitus. So napag-isipan ng team namin that we can showcase landscaping by growing vegetables in our backyard instead na puro na lang ornamental. So at the same time, a system of growing vegetable na kayang-kayang gawin ng bawat miyembro ng pamilya, either bata man or matanda. So again, thank you very much to Asia in Canberra, Australia, and Asia Philippines for the funding support, and to the University of New England in Australia who managed the implementation of this project. Also to my mentor, Dr. Gordon Rogers of the Applied Horticultural Research in Australia. We are also thankful to the USTP administration through our President, Dr. Butch Cultura, and to the RD personnel of the USTP Claveria for the support in the implementation of this project.
The USTP Claveria, with its needs in agriculture, continually provides innovative solutions to the current pressing issues concerning food security. With the ongoing health crisis bringing new challenges to the agriculture sector, the university has stepped up its efforts in contributing to the national development goals of food security and safety in the region. As part of the university's response to the unprecedented challenges that the COVID-19 pandemic posed, it has initiated the Productive Agriculture for National Development through Entrepreneurial Mindset and Innovative Culture, or Pandemic Farm, that advocates technology solutions to grow various vegetable produce within limited space. USTP Pandemic Farm is basically a model farm that optimizes agricultural yield given limited spatial and temporal sources. This model farm is an innovative approach to backyard gardening. It utilizes various technologies such as urban gardening, vertical gardening, diversified farming, among other innovations. It will serve as a show window for local households and farmers with potential or replication and or adoption as their aid for food security and sustainability, particularly in this trying time. The goal here is to empower the surroundings residents on how to use wide array of techniques feasible enough for local households to adopt in promotion of food resiliency. This project is one of the university's aggressive effort to promote adaptive mindset for the attainment of food security in our localities and various communities that the university serves. We therefore anticipate that we could capacitate families to produce adequate, accessible, and healthy food on their table, thus empowering them to contribute to the attainment of the national development goals on food security of the country. To date, this project has afforded the university several opportunities to extend its services through technology solutions in the region. In fact, 7 months after it started opening in January 2021, the Pandemic Farm has already provided services to various farmers, technicians, women's group, Department of Education personnel, students, amongst others. This allowed the university stakeholders to adopt the practices and methods taught and shared to them, promoting a more sustainable farming in the comfort of their home. The USTP therefore commits to continue responding to the ever-changing challenges, especially those that concerns food security in the region, by the sustaining effort to develop innovative solutions and through the unwavering support of the community. Together, we can address rising concerns through this USTP Pandemic Farm.
My name is Gordon Rogers and I'm the Managing Director of Applied Horticultural Research in Australia. Thank you for the opportunity to send this message. The Alumni Research Support Facility, or ARSF, was announced by the Australian Centre for International Agricultural Research, or ACR, in April 2020 in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The program is aimed at assisting research projects that build resilience and respond to the challenges that the pandemic has presented to agriculture systems across ACR partner countries. ACR alumni were invited to apply for grants to support research activities that could deliver short-term outcomes directly related to the COVID-19 pandemic and help build a region's capacity to respond to it. In my case, I'm mentoring Dr. Nelda Gonzaga, who I've known for about 10 years. Firstly, through an ACR project on protected cropping, and then later on a project about improving integrated management of vegetable crops in northern Mindanao. Nelda was also selected as a John Dillon Fellow and travelled to Australia as part of that program, also funded by ACR. Nelda's current project is aimed at improving the efficiency and productivity of food production systems amid the pandemic at Misamis Oriental in Mindanao. She is looking at better ways to produce pinakbet and leafy vegetables, and already there have been 21 Bachelor of Science Agriculture students who have participated in that program. The Alumni Research Support Facility is a good example of how ACR is continuing to support research partnerships, building capacity in response to the challenges of the pandemic. I wish Nelda and her students the very best with this project and look forward to hearing more about the benefits that will flow from Nelda's efforts with the assistance of the program and funding from the Australian Centre for International Agricultural Research. Thank you.
The COVID-19 pandemic is a global health and economic crisis that has dislocated the lives and livelihoods of communities the world over, and its impact most likely to be felt for years to come. We are seeing how the pandemic is amplifying existing vulnerabilities and exposing new risks in food systems at the local, national, and regional levels. It is adversely impacting livelihoods, exacerbating rural poverty, and threatening food security. As an immediate response to the pandemic, the Australian Centre for International Agricultural Research, or ACR, has launched the Alumni Research Support Facility, or ARSF. The ARSF enables alumni from ACR fellowship programs to undertake research projects that build resilience and respond to the current and future challenges of agricultural systems in our partner countries, including the Philippines. The ARSF supports research activities that deliver short-term outcomes that directly relate to the pandemic and build upon our partners' capacity to respond to it. ACR is proud to support Dr. Nelda Gonzaga from the University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines, an alumni of the ACR John Dillon Fellowship, on her research project, the USTP Pandemic Farm, that is aiming to improve food security and bring Filipino communities the essentials that they need to survive the challenges of this pandemic. The project, as you will come to know, showcases innovative technologies and best practices in producing food for Filipino families, one that will help them to grow their own food in their backyards even when supplies in the markets become limited. ACR is also proud to support the continued building of capacities of our partner researchers and scientists like Dr. Gonzaga. Capacity building is central to ACR and its research collaborations. This ensures that our partners have the skills, resources, and knowledge to sustain new initiatives, systems, and approaches so our research investments and partnerships lead to lasting change.
Hello everyone, I am Doc Apol Gonzaga from USTP Claveria. I am the center head of the Center for High Value Crops stationed here at USTP Claveria. The center envisions to be the leading center for science and innovation to support high-value commodity growers and entrepreneurs in the region. Further, our center wanted to create a hub for sustainable development and provide stable training ecosystem for researchers, scientists, and extensionists. Our center is also behind the conceptualization of the project DAB, or called as Productive Agriculture for National Development through Entrepreneurial Mindset and Innovative Culture, or Pandemic Farm. We therefore invite you to the epic showcase of sustainable food production systems here in USTP Claveria. Welcome to Claveria, welcome to USTP Claveria, welcome to the USTP Pandemic Farm. Thank you.
Hello everyone! Ako dahil si Brian, usa ka extensionist and researcher diri sa USTP Claveria. Today, I will introduce you sa usa ka pamaagi sa mga home gardeners para ma-set up ang ilang garden. Mao ni ang gitawag nato nga square foot gardening. Unsa man ang square foot gardening? gikan pa lang sa iyang pangalan, kini magagamit og square foot lamang na area kung ikaw magatukod sa imong garden sa inyong panimalay. Karon man kung panahon na kita na nga quarantine sa atong mga panimalay, maglisod tagpalit sa ato ang mga pagkaon, maglisod ta og pangita og utan nga atong pwede mautan. So kita diri sa USTP nangita tagpamaagi nga kita makaset up of home garden sa inyong mga panimalay para makaproduce pud ta even though nga COVID na panahon. So isa na ani ang gitawag nato nga square foot gardening. Dako kay siyang advantage sa ato ang mga home gardeners kay kita makaset up maski gamay latong area. Imagine that, 1 square foot per plant lamang. So even though nga unsa ka gamay imong area sa inyong panimalay, dako na kay siyang nga tabang nga kita makaproduce og atong utanon sa atong mga balay as home gardeners. Next thing, unsa nga mga materyales ato ang angay iandam? Aduna tay tulo. Una, ang setup nato. Kini siya pwede ni siya semento, pwede ni siya bato, pwede ni siya kahoy, tabla, o kung sa may available sa inyo guma baka nga pwede magamit nga mabarikada sa imong square foot. So, diri nga instance atong pandemic farm nagamit ta og tabla o piece sa kawayan or bamboo. Kini siya mag-set up tag 1 square foot taga-tanom nga to ang i-set up. Ang ikaduha rin natong iandam nga materials, isang ato ang planting materials nga mga utanon. So right now, ato ang focus is katong mga pinakbit nga mga utan. Squash, yardlong bean, okra, eggplant, o ang ato ang ampalaya. So kung aduna na mo'y high yielding varieties nga na-prepare sa inyong panimalay, usan na inyong una-unaon? Ang inyuhang soil media. Kini siya makatabang sa pagpadako sa atong tanom kung maayo ang inyong soil media. Pwede ta mo gamit og kokopit, pwede ta mo gamit og vermicast, pwede ta mo gamit og biochar, pwede ta mo gamit og chicken dung aron sa pagpamaayo sa sustansya nga makuha sa atong tanom sa ato ang square foot gardening nga setup. Pagkamanda yon, unsa pa may angay natong hinumduman kung kita naga-setup ani? So ang usa nato nga angay hinumduman, ang 1 square foot grabe ka densified na siya nga setup. So sa pag-manage nato ana, kailangan ta mag-trim, kailangan nato kuan og kanang mga sanga unnecessary nga dahon sa ilalom aron makaproduce ta og maayong oxygen flow sa ato ang mga tanom. Ato pong bantayan nga maigo gid siya sa hayag sa adlaw para kini nga tanom makaproduce. So mao ra na siyang basic nato sa atong gitawag nga square foot gardening. So kung aduna pa mo'y pangutana, later on tubagon na to na. So again, ako dahil si Brian Glomel Salverio, inyong alagad diri sa Pandemic Farm. Until next time.
Hello, good day everyone. So this is Judemy and welcome to our container garden. So by the way, what is container gardening? So typically, container gardening involves the growing of crops in containers or pots instead of growing them in the soil. So container gardening is known as budget and environmentally friendly since we can use recyclable materials available at home. So what are some of the examples of the recyclable materials which can be used using in container gardening? So basically we have barrels or baril sa Bisaya pa, buckets or baldi, napod tayo gitawag nga basket, plastic containers, and even used nga mga tires or kaning mga ligid nga makita nato sa atong vulcanizing shop. And then aside from that, why engage into container gardening? So basically, container gardening enables us to make food out of limited spaces. Container gardening can also be easily managed since naa siya daw sa atong backyard, and then we can able to control our pests and diseases as well as our weeds. And aside from that, container gardening provides attraction in our home. Container gardening is mobile since nakaputang sila sa pots, so therefore pots can be easily moved from one place of our backyard to another. And last thing, why container gardening is that container gardening provides the opportunity for all gardeners to have early harvest compared to our conventional gardening. And so, how about the tips for container gardening? So we have 7 tips to establish container gardening. So first thing is to secure your container. So what container nga ang pwede nato magamit when engaged into container gardening? So basically, container that holds soil. So the bigger container, the better, depending on unsa kadako ang ato ang crops nga itanom. And the second thing is water and drainage. Since we are growing our crops, so importante ang pag-ensure sa proper nato nga paghatag sa water sa atong tanom. And of course, since gahatag ta og water, not to extent nga isok nato sila into grabe kay sila kabasa. So need nato sila tagaan og sakto nga drainage. Aside from that, the third thing is to use the high-yielding variety and pest and disease-resistant nga mga seedling. And then the fourth one is in terms of light and temperature. Why is this so very important ang light and temperature? Since growing crops sila, need sila og light from our sun. So it would be better to place our container garden to the sunniest part of our yard. The fifth thing nga kailangan nato timan-an is in terms of our potting soil. So since we are using the container, so it would be better to use the enhanced growing media such as our practiced here in Pandemic Farm. So we have 1:1:1:0.5 ratio. This composed of garden soil, our coco peat, our carbonized risal, and half part only for our organic fertilizer, just like the chakandang. And then the sixth one is fertilization. So if ever our growing plants are veggies or mga leafy, so it would be better to apply fertilizer high in nitrogen content. And if ever mga ga-fruit sila or gabunga, so therefore later stage tagaan nato sila og fertilizer which is lower in nitrogen but high in phosphorus content. And the last thing, if ever ang ato ang mga crop nga gitanom is kanang mga mokrol or mukatay, just like this one, kaning squash. So therefore, pwede nato sila tagaan og plant support just like the arc trellises, the wall-type trellises, the stakings, and so on. And so that would be all to our container gardening. So I hope namoy natunan for this day. So again, this is Judy May and keep safe everyone.
Good day everyone and welcome sa Vertical Garden sa USTP Pandemic Farm. So karon atong pagahisgutan ang vertical gardening. So by definition, this is a process wherein we grow crops vertically. Kung sa ato pa kini magpatubo ta og mga pananom sa pataas nga direksyon. Okay, so ginatawag pud nato ang ato ang vertical gardening nga living green walls or live walls. Compared sa ato ang conventional nga pagpananom nga nanginahanglan og luag nga area para sa itong pagpananom, ang atong vertical gardening pwede lang nato magamit or pwede nato magamit sa ato ang tagsa-tagsa ka gagmay nga area sa ato ang balay. One of the characteristics of our vertical gardening is producing food while creating attraction. Meaning, naghatag siya og pagkaon sa ato ang mga tagsa-tagsa ka panimalay ug naghatag pud siya og atraksyon para sa ato ang mga mata. Karon, unsa man nga klase sa mga pananom ang pwede nato itanom sa ato ang vertical gardens? Pwede nato itanom ang ato ang mga house plants, mga annuals, perennials, ug mga shrubs. So katong mga house plants ang ato ang mga bulak, mga ornamental sa balay, mga annuals or katong mga pananom nga mabuhi siya within 1 year, mga perennials nga mabuhi more than 3 years nga lifespan. Ug of course ang ato ang mga shrubs nga katong ganahan magtanom og mga bonsai. So karon, unsa man gyud kini nga mga klase sa mga pananom? So kauban niini ang ato ang mga vegetables or ang ato ang mga utan. So pwede ta magtanom og mga okra, kalabasa, talong ug unsa pa nga mga klase sa mga utan. Pwede pud ta magtanom og mga leafy greens or ang ato ang mga dahon-dahon sama sa lettuce, cabbage ug petchay. Pwede po ta magtanom sa itong mga gagmay nga mga prutas sama sa melon o strawberry. Usa ka importante nga butang nga dapat nato timan-an pag magbuhat og vertical garden mao ang paghatag og plant support. So ang atong plant support importante kayo siya sa pagtubo kay mao kini ang maggiya sa itong mga pananom sa pagtubo niya pataas nga direksyon. Diri sa USTP Claveria, nagamit kami og mga trellis or arc trellis ug mga wall type nga mga trellis. Para sa ato ang plant support, nagamit pod ang atong USTP Pandemic Farm og mga ladders og wooden benches. Kini gitamnan nato og mga okra ug mga talong. Para sa ato ang cultural management, aduna tay 5 ka mga butang nga angay timan-an. Mao kini ang water, pruning, netting, fertilization ug ang training of vines. Ang atuang vertical gardening usa ka pamaagi sa pagpananom nga maghatag kanato og convenience ug maghatag sa kaanyag sa atuang mga garden. Pinaagi sa vertical gardening, pwede natong ma-harvest og maayo og convenient nga pamaagi ang atuang mga abot sa atong garden. With this non-traditional way of gardening, pwede ta maka-harvest og dako ug pwede nato matagaan ang atoang tagsa-tagsa ka panginahanglan sa pagkaon. Aniya ta karon sa Hillyland Garden sa USTP Pandemic Farm. Kini common nga magamit diri sa Claveria, which is a landlocked municipality diri sa Misamis Oriental.
So in this area, we are growing a lot of lettuce for salad, and this lettuce, these are grown with different soil substrates or soil growing with different growing media, and we are showcasing to the farmers that with a very defined and a very suitable growing media, we can expedite or we can hasten the growth of these high value vegetables. In this one, we are also growing a lot of iceberg lettuce. This is for the high-end market, and this is grown organically. And as you can see, we are trying to protect the slopes or the soil material by implementing a plat made of indigenous materials. This one, bamboo and wood. And this one, we are growing a very good crop of pitsai. This is for the local market. This is actually organically grown, and we are using different combinations of substrate materials grown in a plat to avoid soil erosion. And this one also, we are also using different media and the same crops, lettuce. We have cabbages in there, and we are using a lot of contour material to prevent losses relative to erosion. Because in this particular landscape, the rainfall is about 3,000 millimeter a year. So that's quite a lot. So in order to protect our soil material, we are implementing a lot of plats made of indigenous material for farmers to follow and to demonstrate to them that the use of indigenous local material, we can also produce with preventing soil loss or soil erosion in this case. Thank you and good day.